The police dragged him away, and then we followed the signal to the other AirTag, which led straight to Freddy's car. After some effort, the police managed to break into his truck, and we saw that much like Tim's locker that the trunk was full of stolen goods along with illegal steroids. As the police were combing through the items inside the trunk, Freddy came outside and saw the police. As quickly as he could, he leapt into his car and started it up and tried to race away. The police jumped into their cars and chased after him, and he led them on a wild car chase for a couple hours that ended with him crashing his car. He was then taken into custody. Hi there, my name is Evan, and I have a story about a bully that I wanted to share with you. The bully in question was Freddy. He was this massive muscle guy that would come to the local gym that I went to, and no one there liked him. He basically acted like a complete jerk to everyone else that had the misfortune to work out at the same time that he was there. He never really picked on me much, but he did make a point to harass people, especially couples that would work out together. Freddy would constantly go up to couples and pick on them since he was so much bigger than most of the other men that attended our gym. He was tall and looked like a world-class bodybuilder, so he was very intimidating. Oh look, if it isn't one of the scrawniest and weak little men to ever come into this gym. Bud, why do you even bother? You've been coming here for a couple years now and you haven't gained any muscle mass at all. Leave me alone, Freddy. I don't come here just to build muscles. I prefer long-distance running anyways. Only a loser like you would say something as pathetic as that. Women only want men like me with big muscles and everyone knows it. But fine, I'll just go and talk to your girlfriend then. She'll be interested in what I have to say. Leave her alone, Freddy. Why do you always have to be such a jerk? Can't you just leave people alone so they can work out in peace and quiet? You better watch your mouth, little man, or else I'll pound your face in. No one asked you. Of course, Freddy was mostly just talk. He never actually hit anyone, but he did push people around or shove them off equipment that he wanted to use. The real problem was that even if anyone complained about him to the workers at the gym, nothing would come of it. Freddy had a friend, Tim, that worked there, and amazingly, every time there was a dispute, the videotapes of the gym would suddenly stop working. So if anyone ever complained, it was always their word against his. Over time, though, it began to get worse. There were times when Freddy would pretend that it was an accident, but he would walk into the women's changing room, and women swore that he even tried to take photos of women while they were changing. He had been caught a few times, but he always swore that it was all a big misunderstanding, and when his friend Tim would cover for him and just make the whole situation disappear. Usually by giving people free smoothies or free time at the gym. However, it was quickly getting to be too much. The final straw came when things from the men's locker room started to go missing. So the lockers in the changing rooms were on the honor system and didn't have padlocks on them. And like a fool, I and many other people had assumed that anything left in the lockers would be safe as we felt that we could trust one another. But then things began to disappear. For me, it was a pair of wireless earbuds that I had left in my locker while I went swimming, and when I came back to change, they were gone. I reported them missing to the staff, but no one ever came forward with finding them. However, I was convinced that I saw Freddy using them the next time I was in the gym. I couldn't prove for certain that they were mine, but I just knew. Other people reported money going missing from their wallets that they left in the lockers, or a watch or jewelry even. None of it was ever found, and while no one came out directly and said it, it was very obvious who the culprit was. We were all very frustrated, especially since we knew that nothing was going to be done. However, one day, I had had enough. I stupidly wore a watch that my father had given me before he passed away to go to the gym, and I didn't want it damaged when I went swimming, and so I left in my locker. A couple hours later, I went in the changing room to get dressed and head home, and found my locker open and everything in it gone. I asked at the head desk and spoke with Tim. Hey, sorry, but there are no cameras in the changing rooms. I'll keep an eye out if anyone finds it, but that's the best I can do. Well, that isn't good enough. That watch was incredibly important to me. I demand that you do something. Well, you can demand all you want to, but that won't change anything. There's nothing I can or will do. Sorry, bud, but you just have to accept that it's gone. I was beyond furious, and I was finally at the point where I was ready to do something. You may ask why I didn't just go to another gym. Well, sadly in my town, there are no other gyms. And yes, I could buy some equipment and work out at home, but that is too expensive, and I feel much more motivated to work out when I go to the gym. At any rate, I contacted a friend of mine, Stacy. Stacy was in between jobs, and I asked if she would be willing to do me a favor and apply to work at the gym. She was curious, and when I told her why, she figured that it could be fun for her, so she applied, and they ended up hiring her. Now it was only a matter of time to wait until Freddie and Tim did something, and we didn't have to wait very long. Within 2 weeks of Stacy starting to work at the gym, Freddie had harassed and assaulted over a dozen different gym members. Of course, Tim said that the cameras hadn't caught any of the behavior, and so they had just assumed that it was business as usual. But what they didn't know was that I had told Stacy to make copies of the recordings for the video cameras, and she had gotten to them before Tim could. She gave me copies of the recordings, and I held on to them. I had wanted Tim fired and Freddie to finally be kicked out of the gym, but I knew that some recordings wouldn't be enough, and so I bought some AirTags and hid one of them in a watch I bought, as well as another in a laptop, and left both in my locker when I went swimming. Sure, enough when I finished and headed back to the locker room. Both were missing. Rather than telling Tim that I had once again been the target of theft, I instead called up the police, and when they showed up, I told them about the AirTags. We started following the signals from the tags, but both led to different locations. The first led us to Tim's personal locker in the break room for the gym staff. When Tim saw us enter the break room, he became very nervous and eyed the police officers with obvious fear in his eyes. Since the signal told them that one of my items was in his locker, he was forced to open it and revealed not only the watch that I had put the AirTag in, but the watch that my father had given me, along with dozens of other items that people had reported missing. But that was just the tip of the iceberg, though. On a separate shelf, there were boxes and boxes, all containing illegal steroids that Tim had been illegally selling to people at the gym. After a few tense minutes, Tim said that he and Freddie had been selling steroids at the gym for years, and that was why he protected him. They had made a lot of money from selling the drugs, and he wanted to protect his investment. The police dragged him away, and then we followed the signal to the other AirTag, which led straight to Freddie's car. After some effort, the police managed to break into his truck, and we saw that much like Tim's locker that the trunk was full of stolen goods along with illegal steroids. As the police were combing through the items inside the trunk, Freddie came outside and saw the police. As quickly as he could, he leapt into his car and started it up and tried to race away. The police jumped into their cars and chased after him, and he led them on a wild car chase for a couple hours that ended with him crashing his car. He was then taken into custody. In the aftermath, the majority of the belongings that people had stolen from them were returned, and of course the gym fired Tim and permanently terminated Freddie's membership. But the real sweet revenge came from the criminal charges that both men received. Tim ended up serving 10 years behind bars for the sale of the steroids, and an additional 4 years for his role in covering up and participating in the various crimes at the gym. The videos that I had Stacy copy for me played a big role in revealing the extent of their crimes. For Freddie, though, he was given the same, but then an additional 3 years for fleeing from the police and leading them on a dangerous car chase through town. I had originally just wanted to get rid of a bully, but I ended up bringing down a drug ring in the process. I would be lying if I said that that part didn't make me feel pretty happy with Plan. In fact, the gym gave me a free lifetime membership in honor of the role that I played, and also gave Stacy a very healthy raise and promotion as well, both of which made Stacy extremely happy. So much so that she has worked there ever since, and proudly proclaims that she loves her job and would never leave that place in a million years. I later heard Freddie tried to bully an inmate, and the inmate and his friends beat him up, causing Freddie to lose one of his eyes. So now my friends and I get to go to the gym and enjoy our workout sessions, free from any bullies or the fear of being targeted by thieves. It's a win-win situation. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment down below saying I subscribed, and we will try our best to reply to your comment.